Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to the Bologna Show presented by the Chicago Sports Bums. I am Bologna. I'm back after a week hiatus, and it's a solo show. I haven't done a solo show since like week 2 or episode 3 of the Bologna Show. It's been a while, but I wanted to get some thoughts out there. There's a good amount of nerd news, and then I saw Project Hail Mary this weekend with my wife. I feel like it's taken a sect of the internet by storm. And I have some thoughts on the movie. So that'll be the deep dive at the end of the show. That'll be the main topic of today is Project Hail Mary and how much hype it's getting and whether or not I liked it or not. Yeah, I did review it on Letterboxd. If you guys follow me there, I've been doing the Letterboxd thing for all of the movies I watch. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you to everyone in the comments. This is going to be more of a stream of consciousness type of show. I don't know if I'm going to go 20 minutes. I might go an hour. It's just as soon as it's going to be a brain dump. As soon as I get my thoughts and my points across, that'll be it and that'll be all. But I do have some plans for the upcoming week, so I'll tease that at the end of the show. But thank you guys so much. I see some people in the comments already. Gordo's always in the comments. He says smash the like button. Of course, Gordo. And while I'm bringing up comments on screen, I said it earlier. This is going to be, I'm going to need your help. If anybody's listening, if anybody's watching live on YouTube, first and foremost, hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. But yeah, like, subscribe, and then comment. Give me your thoughts on things. I want to go back and forth with the people watching live. If you're not watching live and you're listening to this the day after or much after, one, thank you, because we have gotten a good amount of listeners now on Spotify and Apple Music. So thank you guys so much. If you don't watch it on YouTube, thank you for listening in podcast form. So yeah, you could find me on Spotify at The Bologna Show, and you could find on Apple Music as well. Um, no real plans to put it on Android or whatever because I've never dealt with Android stuff, and yeah, I don't even know if it would work or not. So Apple Music, Spotify, that's where you could find us. But of course, the main Chicago Sports Bum stuff is always on YouTube. So thank you guys for watching. Yeah, so I said this is going to be a stream of consciousness show. It is going to be movie heavy again. I know we just did the Oscar wrap up show with my guy Bob Pants. He did a great job, recapping and giving you his thoughts on the Oscars. I think he nailed a good amount of predictions. I thought the Oscars as a whole was a pretty good show. I like Conan as a host. He could really host a show. He could drive the car, if you will. And then, yeah, the winners, obviously, Sinners was a big winner, and also One Battle After Another. Those were both my favorite movies of the year, so no complaints there. And yeah, other than that, we do have an announcement. I've got a sponsor for the Bologna Show. I'm going to play an ad for them in a little bit. But before I get to the nerd news, I thought about it and I'm like, how do I want to, where am I going to place the ad? Is it going to lead the show? I think nerd news, a buffer between when I deep dive into nerd news and when I introduce the show is a good idea. So I'll play it in a couple minutes, but I have been movie heavy of late, but this is also, a pop culture kind of music and anything else, video games, anything else. And the LollaPalooza lineup came out 2 weeks ago. I wasn't able to comment on the Bumcast or on the Bologna Show. Oh yeah, so There will be spoilers, HBIC. That's a great question. I was going to lead up to that once we got into Project Hail Mary. There's going to be spoilers up the ass. So if you haven't watched Project Hail Mary, one, I suggest you do. I liked it, so that's a spoiler for my review of it. But if you haven't watched it, forget about the second half of the show, but stay for the first half because I need your guys' help on the superhero hypotheticals and a bunch of other things. So there will be spoilers. Joey P's in the comments. He's saying, Hermano. I saw Joey P cooking up a storm earlier today. He posted a review, should be on our socials, with a little bit of the TasteRealChicago.com stuff. I will talk about TasteRealChicago.com in a little bit. But yeah, Gordo's in the comments, like I mentioned. Cheers, Baloney. Screw no guest and screw Joey P. You know what? I like that one, Gordo. I like that one a lot. I wanted to do a no guest thing only because I haven't done a solo show in a while. And it's a good thing to kind of like, training wheels or get the training wheels off and kind of just be able to like Mike Francesa this sometimes. I give a lot of credit to all the great, back in the day, there was a good amount of radio people that just drove a car by themselves, just talking into the void. And obviously, radio at the time had millions and millions of listeners, but like Mike Francesca, even Dan Levitard for a while would just talk to himself. I know Rich Eisen does that a lot, or now he has more people and guests and stuff like that. But for a time, Rich Eisen kind of just was one of those stream of consciousness guys. It's always impressive. It's always impressive to be able to do that. And yeah, every so often, I said it when I first did it. I don't want to do it too often, but every couple months or so, do a solo show. It's probably good for just the training wheels aspect of it all. I do realize like a lot of the times when I'm hosting this show as opposed to the Bumcast, I speak a lot faster and I'm kind of like rushed. So this is a good exercise to kind of slow it down. Maybe not say a couple, everyone has a couple crutch words. I think I do that a lot when I say, what was I listening to the Bumcast? And I was like, and something like that, or something like that. I feel like I end sentences with that a lot. This is a good exercise to stop that. But yeah, I mentioned it, LollaPalooza. I'm gonna add the lineup to the stage so you guys can see it. They broke it down by day, which is nice. So I could talk to you about Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A lot of fervor. There was a lot of chatter, at least from the internet section that I live in, about the lack of headliners and the lack of star power for this year's LollaPalooza. And while I do agree that the headliners are weak, so I'll read it off for the people listening on the podcast feed. So Thursday is Lord and John Summit. Friday is Charlie XCX and the Smashing Pumpkins. Saturday is Olivia Dean and Jeannie. And then Sunday is Tate McRae and the XX. Not great. Not great as the headliners, but I do think these specific, main stage headliners do draw a good amount of people. Lord is really good. Julie and I are big fans of Lord. John Summit is a local kid, DJ. I'm sure that Grant Park is going to be packed with John Summit fans. Charlie XCX had a moment 2 years and last summer, where it was Brat Summer. And she was, the hottest thing in music for a little bit. So she could, draw a crowd. The questionable one is the Smashing Pumpkins. And it's probably somebody that I personally would probably go see. I wouldn't go see them at LollaPalooza, not in 2026. But, as a child of the 90s, I was a big Smashing Pumpkins guy. Zero and Melancholy and all that. Like, that was, right up my wheelhouse. And a lot's been said about Billy Corgan and him being basically a carnival act at this point. If they're able to, just play the hits, a lot of the times, a band like the Smashing Pumpkins don't get cute with it. Just play the hits, a tight hour and 15 set, hour and a half set. It could go a long way, but I just don't know if Billy Corgan is able to do that. So yeah, that's the questionable one. Olivia Dean and Jeannie, I have no idea. Olivia Dean was nominated for Best New Artist this year. She's really good. I don't think she's at headliner level yet. And the XX is someone that me and Julie like. also don't think they haven't been relevant in 10 years. I thought maybe did they break up and now this is like a comeback show? I'm really questionable on the XX as the Sunday headliner. I think if you see Sunday, the next person or the next band is someone I talked about during Grammy nomination season, Turnstile. They might be the best rock band going right now. I think Turnstile would have a bigger crowd than the XX. I think they really could have like headlined Sunday, or if not Sunday, another one of the days. So questionable by Live Nation and Perry Farrell or whoever's really making the decisions nowadays for Lollapalooza on the headliners. But there's some good, like, deep cut guys. Like, so I've been a big Somber fan, so he's gonna be there Thursday along with Empire of the Sun, Wet Leg, and then Blood Orange, 5 Second of Summer. Thursday is the day that I would probably go to, if I were to go at all. Problem is we're probably not gonna go this year. We went last year and as a married couple of 40 plus years of age. We got to pick and choose our spots for Lollapalooza, especially because we do go to Riot Fest every year. So I think Thursday and Sunday, my two favorite bands on this whole lineup is Turnstile and Hot Mulligan. Hot Mulligan is one of my favorite bands of the moment. So if they had a decent Sunday headliner, I would have immediately bought tickets to that. But the fact that, I've seen Turnstile once, I've seen Hot Mulligan, and I'm probably going to go see them at Summerfest. I don't have to spend the money for them at Lollapalooza. I know Aaron, 630 Aaron, 630 Whiskey Aaron, she was excited about this lineup. There's a good amount of, like, a little bit of something for everyone, but I do agree that, like, the star power was lacking. Southside JT says, spoiler alert, it was full of grace. Yeah, Project Hail Mary was full of grace. HBIC says, I only know a couple Two Tree bands. I think, especially Lollapalooza, now that, we're, getting up there, it's just not for us anymore. I still think an older couple, like we mentioned last year, we could still have fun at Lolla, but it's for people decades younger than us at that point. So that's unfortunate. And you know what's really old is I find myself checking the Ravinia concert schedule just as much as I check the Lollapalooza. Although I'm not old enough for Ravinia yet. I will say that. I think I'm in the buffer of, like, I'm too old for Lolla, although I don't want to admit it, and I'm too young for Ravinia. So I need something in between, and I think that's Riot Fest, and it's always been Riot Fest. So yeah, that was the Lollapalooza lineup. Turnstile, Hot Mulligan for me. Questionable about the XX, but there's some good people there. Lord is very good, and I would see the Pumpkins somewhere other than Grant Park. So yeah, other than that, I do got nerd news. I teased we had nerd news for a while. Two gigantic trailers. I mean, two trailers that are literally breaking records right now. Dropped this week in Spiderman and Dune, who I'm a big fan of. So I got thoughts on that. But before I let you know my thoughts on those trailers, I'm going to play a quick ad for our guys at Penguin Imprints.
Penguin Imprints is an independent print and custom apparel shop specializing in direct-to-consumer orders. From file prep to final cut, every order is treated like it matters and not rushed through mass production like other print houses. From sticker packs to t-shirts, custom canvas artwork, and my own personal favorite, the Abolish Ice line, Penguin Imprints has something for you. Penguin Imprints is a proud sponsor of The Bologna Show. Head over to penguinimprints.com and type in promo code Bologna for 20% off your purchase.
I teased it on one of the lives I was doing for the hashtag 108 tournament, but I've talked about it before. Yumper's our guy. We did a live show at the Wiener Circle way back in the day. I've always fucked with Yumper. He's got Penguin Imprints going right now, Upstart. I told him, and I said it in the live, I'll say it again, I would have played the ads for free, honestly. Like, that's how much I like him. I love him. But he's like, no, I insist on paying for ads to the Bologna Show. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. He helped us in a bind. I needed some stickers for our watch party at the Ramova, one of our Bears watch parties. He printed out an ass ton of stickers for us in a short amount of time. I made a joke. I don't think he slept, but he just like printed out a bunch of these. He also printed out our whiskey at Comiskey schedule for us, so we were able to, hand those out to people. And I got more stickers. I got stickers for opening day, and I'll be handing out those, including, he gave me some stuff to give away. But yeah, it's not just stickers. He's got shirts. He's got canvas art. He's able to customize basically anything you guys need. So yeah, if you guys go to penguinimprints.com, hit the promo code Baloney, 20% off, baby. That's a good deal. All right. Oh yeah, chain smokers. I didn't even talk about the chain smokers. I never. I think I was too old. I was too out of the club scene, and I know they make more poppy music. But I think I just missed that window of chain smokers. Wet Leg is good. Wet Leg is a very, very good band. Did Baloney say he's too young for Ravinia? Yes, I am. I'm in my 40s. I feel like Ravinia is closer to the 50s crowd. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not too old for Ravinia, and I'm in denial. They're saying Baloney. I did see the lineup for Sueños. I don't have it on me right now. I know Aaron and my sister Sandra are going. Sueños puts out a great lineup every year. I missed the year, and I think he ended up getting rained out, but I'm a big Peso Pluma guy. Have been for a little while now. So I would have saw that last year or 2 years ago when he was there. But yeah, I don't have the lineup on me, but I do mess with Sueños. I do like a lot of the bands that they end up, signing. And they do a good job of signing good local artists too. So keep an eye out for that. Jumper is the best? No, I'm the best, Gordo. Don't forget. But yeah, he is too. All right, let's stop teasing the nerd news. I got a couple trailers to talk about. The Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer finally dropped. It feels like it leaked 6 months ago on a shitty like potato phone of camera, and it was basically the exact. They didn't change a thing. Like I think I saw the trailer before, like right around like Halloween or like right around my birthday. But it dropped. It looked great. I think people were upset that they didn't really. It didn't like Marvel does this thing where they cut certain things they don't want you to see. So like Sadie Sink, they still haven't announced whether or not she's Jean Grey or not, or maybe someone else. They cut Daredevil out of the movie or the trailer completely because they want to tease. Everyone knows that Daredevil was going to be in this movie. So I feel like people are getting pissed off that like Marvel's doing their funny business. But visually, I thought that the trailer looked great. I'm going to go back to this screen for a second. But first, like, this is just straight up. I love when comic book movies just steal, scenes straight out of the comics. That's what it should be. There's a couple Avengers scenes that did that, and this is just straight out of Amazing Fantasy. So that stood out to me right away. I'm like, yes, do more of that, comic book movies. And then like just visually, I thought a couple of things. So like this scene, a lot of people were dissecting this scene because they think things got edited out of the rooftop. But overall, I thought it was fine. I don't think like, you can't dissect too much from a comic book movie trailer. They're only letting you see what they want you to see. But I think at this, the movie comes out in July, the end of July. But the fact that they're like this, like, oh, we don't want you to see Daredevil and we don't want you to see Sadie Sink, I think it does it more of a disservice. Obviously, spoilers are a thing. But if they just went out and said at this point in time that Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, personally, I'd be more hyped for this movie. And said, yeah, Daredevil's in this movie. He has a huge part in this movie. I'd be more hyped. But yeah, Colonel Bourbon, fine young gentleman, is in the comments. Bernthal is the best. Bernthal is awesome. He could do no wrong. And him, reprising his role as the Punisher, I'm excited about. I know Mark Ruffalo is there as, it says Hulk on here, but there was no Hulk in the trailer. It was just Bruce Banner. He's got the wristband, that like protects him from turning green. They teased that in She-Hulk, I believed. But yeah, I'm excited for this movie. I know people weren't, all that happy about the trailer, especially because it was basically the same one, like I mentioned. The other thing, and I kept this screen on in particular because there's the biggest Easter egg of all is those shoe prints. I mean, those are Jordan 1 shoe prints on that beam. And if you look at the shoes that Spider-Man is wearing, he's wearing grippy shoes. So that could only mean one thing, and that's Miles Morales. I think people have been waiting for the Miles Morales Spider-Man appearance in the MCU for a while now. I think it's about time to start introducing that character. And the fact that they just have the Jordan 1's footprints on there, that's a hell of a tease. So as much as people criticize everything else, I really like that. So I'm pumped. I'm pumped for. He says Jordan is the villain. What? I'm pumped. I'm pumped for this. I'm excited about it. I will be there, opening day or opening weekend for sure. And I'm excited to see what they get. Not only that, but like it's the only movie leading up to Avengers Doomsday, and I feel like Avengers Doomsday they've been hyping up since forever. Like they did the goofy, casting. I was gonna say casting couch, but the director's chairs with everyone's names on it, and they've been doing the Doomsday clock forever. And they teased a bunch of like those little mini trailers with Cap and Thor and a bunch of other people. And I was like, man, they should have been hyping up this movie. This is the only lead-in, and the fact that they, at least in the trailer, it didn't have any ties to Doomsday at all. I'm sure there's gonna be an extra, like a post-credit scene, or there's gonna be things that tie everything together. But I'm like, Marvel, you gotta fucking hurry your ass up and figure it out. I am a sneaker nerd, Gordo. That's right. Next up, Dune Part 3. Julie watched the first two Dune movies for the first time last weekend. I watched them with her. That was my probably second or third viewing of them. I am gassed up about this movie, and I'm ready to say something that I don't think, as a Star Wars nerd, I don't think I was gonna say until I saw the second one. But at that point, I didn't have the Bologna show. I think I like these movies just as much as Star Wars. I honestly do. I think the first two have been home runs. Everything about them, I compared them at least to Julie when I was trying to convince her to watch them, and she ended up liking them. So now she's excited for the third one. I said it's Star Wars and then Game of Thrones because of all the houses and stuff like that, and it's just like right up my wheelhouse. And I know, like obviously George Lucas, the whole parallel between Skywalker and Paul Atreides and everything else. But I never really got into them, especially I never really saw the original Dune movies because they looked so bad, and I was so young at the time. I'm like, I'm not really that interested. But I'm really excited for Dune Part 3. I think it's the most I'm excited for a movie this year, and I'm talking like Spider-Man. We're getting Doomsday. We're getting the Odyssey, which everyone's going crazy for. There's a lot of really good movies coming out this year, and I think this is my one. So I thought the trailer looked great. The fact that they released this trailer so early, they didn't do this with the other two movies. I think it all has to do with the Chalamet not winning the best actor for the ping pong movie, the Marty Supreme. I think this is going to be I think so. Jeff DeLoe from Project Big Screen first made the correlation, but I think a lot of people made it. It's like this is gonna be they're gonna really push this for Oscar season, especially the way Lord of the Rings, the third Lord of the Rings, kind of cleaned up at the Oscars. So they're trying to do that with Dune Part 3. But visually, the first two movies were awesome. I thought the acting in it was great. The pacing of the first two movies, while long, and we're gonna talk about Project Hail Mary in a little bit. I thought that movie was a little too long. The pacing on the first two were fantastic. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Dune Part 3. I think after that, they've talked about the possibility of the story continuing, but this won't be the Paul Atreides story anymore, and the director won't be there, Denny Villeneuve. won't be there, so it'll be a completely different thing. But yeah, this is one last ride with Chalamet and Denis Villeneuve and everyone else, and I think it'll be very fun. Oh yeah, so Julie's in the comments. She says, "I know it's a little late for you to watch it now. I don't know if you're discussing the TV series or streaming series on here, but the Harry Potter HBO series trailer dropped today, and it looked amazing. I I'm not a Potter guy. Julie knows this, but like I never really got into the Harry Potter movies or books. I feel like I was just a little too old at that point. And now Julie and my daughter have been going back and watching them all. So I think I should watch them and rewatch them. I don't know anything about this series other than the fact that I know HBO has really put in a lot of money. Um, Again, I'll mention Jeff D'Lo. He talked about how like they are building practical sets for a lot of the storyline to this Potter HBO series. So yeah, I know Potter heads will be excited. I just can't speak to them only because like I think I've watched one, like the original Harry Potter movie, and maybe the second one. What's the one with Dobby? Like he was basically Gollum looking guy. Um, I've seen those, but I'm Potter is a big blind spot for my nerddom, if you will. Is Potter a reboot? Great question. Great question. I don't know. She's only halfway through the movies. It seems a bit darker. I mean, if it's going to be on HBO, you can't make it too dark though, right? Because there's still going to be kids watching. Yumper saying I actually listened to the books and watched the films. Vinny got into them. I'm gonna watch it. I had some time, right? It doesn't come out till December, I believe. Um, and that's another thing. Like they just keep releasing trailers way. I complained about Spiderman being too soon, but like everything else, I feel like trailers nowadays like a year ahead of time of things. I'm like, all right, I don't need to be waiting a year. The anticipation seems, too much. But yeah, I'm excited for Dune. I'm probably gonna deep dive into Dune closer to Dune Part 3. I'll probably do like a rewatch and talk about them on the Baloney Show sometime in December. But then again, now I'm teasing it months away, like I just complained about. But yeah, I'm excited for Dune. Other than that, that's the nerd news I have. I do two two baloney shows ago, I did the superhero hypotheticals. I really like those. I think it works well with the people in the comments, with the questions that people bring up and like the arguments, if you will. So I got two superhero hypotheticals today. So the first one is something that is coming out of like basically comic book movies, if you will. But who is the most legendary? And we're talking about actors that have played multiple comic book characters. And the people on screen are Tom Hardy, who played Bane and Venom, Ben Affleck, who played Daredevil and Batman, Christian Bale, who played Batman and Gore the God Butcher, and Ryan Reynolds, who was the Green Lantern and also Deadpool. I thought this was a good question. It's interesting. There's been a couple ones. Yumper immediately says Bale, his role was just bigger than all. I agree. I agree that, like, by definition, Christian Bale is the most legendary of this group because of what the first three Nolan Batman films were, right? Like, I mean, they were tremendous. They changed the way, comic book movies and just people consumed movies in general. Colonel Bourbon saying, I love Reynolds, but it's Bale. The argument I would make is like if I'm just picking characters, I liked Tom Hardy's Bane and I like Tom Hardy's Venom, even though I don't like those Venom movies. Um, Daredevil was a god awful movie, so Affleck's gone. And then Green Lantern, I don't really care about. And as much as I like Deadpool, I don't think he holds up with the rest. Gore the God Butcher, I thought was gonna be awesome in Thor: Love and Thunder, and I feel like they just nerfed that character so bad compared to what it was in the comic books. Although you kind of have to do that, right? Especially for an MCU Marvel movie that, like, it got a little bit dark for the character of Gore the God Butcher, but it left a lot to be desired. Christian Bale's Batman, A1, number one. But I think an argument can be made that both Bane and Venom were better combined characters than anyone else's. But yeah, dude, I mean, those Nolan Batman movies clear anything on this list, and I think everyone is agreeing. Southside JT says Deadpool 1-1. I think HBIC's in the comments. I think HBIC was a huge fan of the Deadpool movies. I like them as well. I never really like they just don't compare with like a Dark Knight or even any other the more serious MCU movies. But yeah, I mean, if we're talking comedy, there's no one that does, speaking to the camera better than Ryan Reynolds. All right. I got one more for you. I also realized, as I'm talking, I've been doing 30 minutes right now. It's been cruising right along. I'm going to take a sip of this beer while you guys read the next hypothetical. And this is, you can only choose 2 to take down the rest. And this is Darth Vader, Voldemort, Homelander, Sauron, Thanos, and Darkseid. So, Vader has always been my one. I mean, I love Vader. But if you were to tell me I could only choose 2 to take down the rest, I think the first question you have to ask is, does Thanos have the Infinity Gauntlet? Because that changes everything, right? Thanos with the gauntlet should be the first overall pick. Without the gauntlet, then it kind of brings it back down to earth. And he's still like a cosmic level villain. I think immediately you cross out Voldemort and Homelander. Those 2 guys would get crushed by the other 4. Sauron is an interesting answer. But I think it's Thanos and Darkseid because they are cosmic level villains. I love Vader, and I want to say Vader and Thanos. But as much as I'm not a DC guy, like Darkseid is basically DC Thanos. So it's a good argument to be made. I guess you could argue for Sauron, but I'm not there. I'm picking between Thanos and Vader. I think I can't pick Vader, which is crazy to think, right? Joe's saying Darth Vader and I don't care. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. You know what? I was gonna see it like it'd be interesting for someone to recreate it like with using AI or whatever. But I did run this. I ran this question to Chat GTP, and it was a Survivor hypothetical. And I'll just read what it said. But the hierarchy looks like this: Darkseid is the number 1 overall pick. It says top tier god. Number 2 is Thanos, Cosmic Warlord. Number 3, Sauron. Number 4, Vader. Number 5, Voldemort. And number 6, Homelander. It says Darkseid and Thanos clears everyone else. So that was what Chat GTP said. I thought it was interesting. Yeah, I might have to do these superhero hypotheticals using Chat GTP more often. I do. See, that's a problem. We do underestimate the dark side of the Force. Sad. It's sad I'm doing that. And I know there's going to be people mad at me for doing it. But yeah. All right. We're going to get... All right. So now this is where the rubber meets the road. If you guys watch Project Hail Mary, stay tuned and hear my thoughts on that. If you haven't watched Project Hail Mary, I would suggest you probably not get it spoiled for yourself, but I will talk about no spoilers for like 5 minutes of it. Other than that, we're going to get really spoiler heavy. And before I do that, I'll play one more quick ad. Ladies and gentlemen, our Whiskey at Comiskey tailgates are back for the 2026 White Sox season. Join us for the White Sox home opener in Lot B on April 2nd for an afternoon filled with food, beer, liquor, and some good old-fashioned Chicago sports bums nonsense. Our first Whiskey at Comiskey of the season is fueled by TasteRealChicago.com, Maker's Mark Whiskey, Manuscrito Tequila, Off Hours Beer Company, and Jepson's Malort. RSVPs are now open. You can find the link pinned to all our socials. See you April 2nd. Go Sox. Baseball is back, baby. I know there's baseball on right now. As I talk nerd stuff, there's sports to be watching. But I'm glad you guys are watching me instead. Yeah. If you haven't RSVP'd, if you plan on going to the White Sox home opener, the RSVP link is all over the place. It's pinned on my Twitter page. It's pinned on the Bums Twitter page. It's pinned here in the description below on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music, wherever. So you're able to find the RSVP link. And if you have any other questions, feel free to, DM us at the Bums or DM me. We'll be happy to answer that. But we're excited. We're excited that baseball is back. We're excited to be in Lot B. We're excited to have share some sandwiches with everyone. And of course, as always, whiskey, tequila, beer, and all the other fun stuff. But that's the extent of sports talk on this show. We're gonna deep dive into Project Hail Mary. Before I do that, let me read off a couple more comments. Where's Zod? Zod's not a part of this. Homelander would laser eye Vader. Vader, between the Force and the laser eye won't work if you're wielding a lightsaber. Have you seen all the stormtroopers he evades? Thank you for watching. Come back to this after you watch the movie because I did recommend the movie. But yeah, Project Hail Mary, first big blockbuster of 2026. Julie and I went to go see it. Everyone said, see it on the biggest screen possible. Like it's worth the IMAX or anything else you pay for. So we saw it in IMAX, and I'm so happy. Visually, this movie is stunning. It's really, really, it stands out. The colors, the vibrancy, the sound, everything about it. I'm glad I watched it in IMAX. And a lot of the times, especially nowadays, post-COVID, you could get away with why everyone has a big TV, right? Like hopefully, everyone's got a big enough TV where you could enjoy a movie at home. But every once in a while, you kind of have to like, get out and see a movie in theaters. And I'm going to do that probably more this year than any other year in the last like 5 or so. But I'm happy I watched it in IMAX. It was awesome. I made a little bit of a pros and cons list. So for people that don't know or don't follow me on Letterboxd, I gave it 4 stars. It didn't reach 5-star level because I do have a lot of little nitpicks that other people didn't have. I know, like, so Kevin Fiddler was waxing poetic about it. Like, as soon as it released, I was on Twitter. I'm like, holy cow, this guy really likes the movie. And rightfully so. Once you love something, I like, don't get me wrong. When I love a movie, I'll talk about it forever. I know our guy, Chris McGowan, Chris McGowan saw it once. He said he liked it so much, he had to go see it again. He's seen it twice now and texted me both times afterwards. It's resonating with a lot of people. And that's the main thing. It's emotionally resonating with the general public. I think this is a movie that a lot of comparisons were made to like E.T. or like Jurassic Park, where like an 8-year-old and an 80-year-old could watch the same movie and really enjoy it. It's got something for everyone. I think there's, between the characters and the acting, there's something you could latch onto and really like root for. So it was good, but it's just like good, not great. So the main thing was, I'll go through my pros and cons. The first pro, besides the visually stunning aspect of it, this was peak Ryan Gosling, and I'm a huge Ryan Gosling fan. Crazy Stupid Love, while being a rom-com, I think that was the first time, and I know he had been in other stuff before that, but he's charming, he's witty, he's funny, he's handsome, he's like everything. He can really play a wide range of characters and emotions. And this movie was peak Ryan Gosling. There's parts where he'll make you laugh. There's parts where he's going to make you cry. There's parts where you're pissed off at him. There's parts where you're really rooting for him. I think this movie, without Ryan Gosling, if it was someone else involved, I don't think it translates as well. It was interesting because I listened to a podcast. So the story is by Andy Weir, same guy. So this was a book. Obviously, I did not read the book. I said that on Twitter, but same person that wrote The Martian. So there's a lot of comparisons to be made because of the two projects. But as soon as this movie got, or actually, as soon as the book got released, Amazon scooped it up right away, and Ryan Gosling attached himself to the role. He was signed on to play this part, I think, for like a good 5 years or so. So it was something he was excited to play, something he really wanted to, put his 2 feet in and really dive into. And it was awesome. The second pro I had, and this is where we're going to get into spoilers. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to spoil the movie right now. I'm going to give you 5 seconds while I take a sip of beer, and then I'll piece you guys out, or listening, if you're listening in the car, listening on headphones, you get 5 seconds. This is a buddy movie with an alien, and Rocky could have gone sideways really quick. And I'm a Rocky guy. I'm a Rocky guy through and through. I love that fucking Rock. He looks like Geodude. If you're a Pokemon fan, he's basically a Geodude rolling around, smart as hell, smart as a whip, funny even though he doesn't understand timing and comedy. I'm all in on Rocky. I think that's where this movie could have really gone weird. And if you read the books, you already knew it was coming, but they did a good job teasing it in the trailers and not really letting you know what was gonna happen. Um, but yeah, I'm all in on Rocky. I said like he's your wingman that you want. It's very much, I'm a Star Wars guy. It's very much a Han Solo Chewbacca aspect of it, but instead of a big furry guy, he's a little small rock. But that's where like that's the biggest pro other than the visuals and the acting of Ryan Gosling, was that like I think Rocky's kids are gonna love Rocky. I love Rocky. I know people are like 3D printing both like the Ryan Gosling action figures, and then also Lego and 3D printing Rocky. So I was like, this is gonna be cool. The other thing was that like the science, I'm not a science guy, I'm a dumb guy. The science just made sense. A lot of the times you suspend disbelief, especially in space movies, because it's like, yeah, like, you can make things up. But like Andy Weir does a good job of like rooting everything in proper science. I saw a video, it was like a behind the scenes thing where like Ryan Gosling, he plays like this genius professor scientist. Um, he had an earpiece, so he's able to do the math while he's on the whiteboard, and like they're telling him what to write, so like it looks like accurate, but like all of that math, supposedly at least, was proper math, and like the science was proper science up until a point, right? You have to suspend disbelief a little bit. It's a sci-fi movie, but like I don't think like it didn't treat the fans like, oh, you guys are lesser than or dumb or anything like that. It's like, no, yeah, this is a story, follow along, and then go from there. So a couple of the cons and why I liked it but didn't love it. And it's something that shocked me because I typically like this kind of stuff, but it was too unserious at times. I talk about like the James Gunnification of Hollywood, where like something serious happens, and like this happens a lot in the Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff, like something serious happens and then there's a joke, or like something serious happens and then Ryan Gosling trips over his feet and falls into the next room. And there was just way too much of that. And don't get me wrong, I'm laughing every time, but it's also like, hey man, this is life or death. We're in space. The world is gonna end, and we're fumbling around and being an idiot, if you will. You're seeing that a lot more in Hollywood. Marvel movies are the first, victim of it, or not victim, but like they're the reason why. But you're seeing it all the time. It's too unserious in times where it's like, all right, take this just a little bit serious. I'm okay with it being dramatic and taking a moment and assessing the situation both as a viewer and like immersed in the film. Like, all right, it doesn't you don't have to have a joke every 4 minutes just for the sake of, hey, we wrote another joke. It's okay to have funny parts and then just have serious or sad parts. And then the second reason why I didn't like it, it was just a little too long. But I know it was by all accounts, it was as close to the book as possible, and like they wanted to respect, the actual story arc and things like that. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm an AEW fan, and this is something. If you are a wrestling fan, gonna understand what I'm saying. There was too many false finishes. This was basically like when you complain about wrestling being like too much flippy shit and like too many people taking actual finishers and then kicking out at two. There is too many false finishes in this movie. I think like this movie could have ended three different times, and then it's like, psych, we're gonna keep going, and something more serious is gonna happen, and then we're like, okay, we're done. Psych, this is this is even more serious, and we got to go save Rocky now. Okay, cool. And then psych, now he's living in a different planet. I'm like, holy shit! Like, how many times are we gonna do this? It's like MJF kicking every time. That's the only issue I had with the movie. And don't get me wrong, I still loved it. 4 stars all around. The false finishes, why I understand they're in the book and you want to keep it, similar. I was like, holy cow, this movie probably could have ended 15 minutes ago, and it didn't. Those were the only two things I have. I talked about spoilers. There's two things I really wanted to talk about. One of them was I purposely made the thumbnail to this, the Baloney Show, the thumbnail on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, was the green planet looking thing. And then there's a moment, especially when I was on IMAX, they flipped the switch. And I saw a lot of people talking about this on Twitter, and I watched a couple podcasts about it. But like the pink scene, the pink scene was so good. I was like, this is like one, like almost a lot of people talking about like the Jurassic Park when you first see the dinosaurs, or like there's just like different scenes in different movies where it's like, holy cow, this is it. And this was one of them. That was right in the middle of the seating. Like we picked the seats ahead of time, so like we had good IMAX seats, although the chairs were uncomfortable as hell. That's another problem for a different day. Um, but the screen was huge, and then like they flip the switch, and you get this pink scene, and I'm like, holy shit, this is what movies. This is what I remember about going to the movies. So kudos to that. And then the other thing is obviously what I mentioned before, just the whole buddy aspect of Rocky and Ryland Grace, Ryan Gosling's character. So good. I think this is a movie. While I kind of actually do want to go see it in theaters one more time. Um, this is a movie that I'm probably gonna watch with my kids. This is a perfect movie. Like my 4-year-old maybe a little too young, but like my 8-year-old, she might fall in love with Rocky just like I fell in love with Rocky. Like I talk about, like, I remember when I first watched Star Wars, or I remember my wife when she first watched Jurassic Park. This movie can be that for a lot of other people. So I understand why people are falling in love with it. It's charming. It's not too serious, but serious enough. But like, there's just something for everyone. Really good. Recommended. I recommend going to theaters to see it. Um, there's talks about, can it sustain the momentum to get into Oscar season. This movie came out right after the Oscars, so like it's gonna have to do what Sinners did, is just continue the momentum. I don't think it is as good as Sinners, although they're two completely wildly different movies. But I do think, when push comes to shove, Ryan Gosling should be nominated for Best Actor. It might win a lot of visual awards, although with Christopher Nolan's Odyssey coming along, this is going to be a bangerang year for movies in general. Not just the blockbusters, but award season is going to be jam packed. So yeah, that is my review on Project Hail Mary. I was on, like I mentioned, on Letterboxd, 4 stars. I liked it. Didn't love it, but still good enough to recommend, especially in theaters. And I probably will be seeing it again, at least once, maybe not once in theaters, but I'm definitely going to see it with my kids, definitely with my daughter. But yeah, that's all I have. I said I didn't know how long this was going to go. This could have gone 20 minutes. I said I could have gone an hour. We're right at the 50-minute mark, so I think that's a good time to wrap it up. I talked about Whiskey at Comiskey. We talked about Penguin Imprints. Thank you guys again. Go to penguinimprints.com. promo code Baloney, get 20% off anything and everything at that store. I know, like I mentioned, I'm going to have stickers for opening day. I've got some giveaways from them. I got a bag full of stuff from Penguin Imprints. I'm actually, before I went live, I didn't know where to put this Penguin Rebels sticker. I'm probably going to put it somewhere back here or maybe on one of the shelves. I'm still thinking about that, but I love these stickers. I love their shirts. Love everything about them. All right, so I teased stuff for next week, and we're running it back. I said I wanted to do nostalgia, not every month, but maybe like every 5-6 weeks. So I'm running it back with Johnny, my cousin Johnny, the Southside Bum is coming back. We're doing video game nostalgia. We did the toy nostalgia from the 80s and 90s. Now we're gonna deep dive into video games. We're gonna rank our top 10 NES games together, and then we're separately gonna rank SNES and Sega Genesis games, because I was a Sega Genesis guy. He was a Super Nintendo guy, but then we would always hang out at each other's houses, so we were able to play both. And so he'll take care of the SNES side of the rankings. I'll do the Sega, and we're both gonna do the NES. And I think we might do 2 hours. We might have to do 2 hours. I'm excited to do this. I'm excited. I said nostalgia is a big part of the Baloney Show, so that'll be next week on the Baloney Show with the Southside Bum. If you want to submit lists on either of or all three of the consoles, or just comment along as we talk about Mike Tyson's Punch Out and Mario 3 and all of the other games, probably Contra is going to be on there. Feel free to comment. That'll be next Wednesday, 8 p.m. like always on the Baloney Show. Thank you guys for everyone in the comments. Thank you to Gordo for the super chat. Thank you to, Yumper and Penguin Imprints. Thank you to the bums who were in the comments. We'll talk to you Monday on the Bumcast, but also Wednesday on the Baloney Show. We'll talk to you later.
Goodbye for tonight. Know that I'll see you